Hello, 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 hello. We are live. We are live. Hello, hello, and welcome back or welcome to your everyday English lesson with me, Jennifer Nascimento, right here at English Outside the Box. If you are just joining and this is your very first everyday English lesson, then welcome, welcome. If you're watching live, again, you're watching the replay, again, welcome back. Thanks for learning with me. So very quickly, before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about these lessons, English Outside the Box, and your everyday English lessons. So everyday English lessons are live here on YouTube every Tuesday morning, my morning, at this time. So these everyday English lessons are designed, are created, or are taught by me to help you with your everyday English skills. So these everyday English skills are what you need to live more comfortably, more confidently, to work more comfortably and confidently, and to be more comfortable and confident with your English. So if you need to work, live, or travel in an English-speaking country, you're in the right place, and I have got you covered. So good morning to Brazil. Good morning to Mexico. Sam, Johnny, I don't know where you're from, so hello to you. Welcome. Today, we are talking all about pronunciation. If you saw the title of this lesson, you know specifically we're talking about the L sound in American English. So this might seem like a really basic, really easy sound. Maybe you're even thinking, why is she doing such an easy lesson? But the L sound is quite complex, and it's really, really confusing for English learners because a lot of native languages will confuse it. So I know for Spanish and maybe French and Italian speakers, the position of the L in their native language is different. Korean and Japanese speakers often confuse the R and the L. My dear Portuguese speakers also have a difficult time with the L, specifically when it comes at the end of a word. So even though this simple L sound might seem basic and easy, get ready for some practice because it's not. We're going to practice. We're going to practice. All right. So in this lesson, today, you're going to review this L sound. You're going to review how it should sound. I'm going to show you how it should look, focusing on your mouth, tongue, lip, teeth, all of the positions. And I'm going to give you some ways to practice. So if you are watching live or you're watching the replay, I really, really encourage you to speak aloud, to say things aloud, and to practice with me out loud, producing a voice. Now, if you're in a place that you cannot practice, maybe you're at work, you're at your desk, or you're in your office, I don't know, try to do it later and definitely come back and watch the replay of this video to practice. So before we begin, before we get into the specifics of how to create the sound, I'm going to read a sentence that I want you to listen to, repeat out loud, and if you're watching live, you can write it in the chat box, the live chat box. Even if you're watching the replay, you can comment in the comments below what you hear. So a little dictation practice, focusing on the L sound before we go into the details. Are we ready? You're going to listen, and then you're going to write down and repeat what you hear. Bill and Lucy fill the vase with lilacs daily. I'm going to do it a couple more times to give you a chance to hear, a chance to repeat and practice, and then a chance to write it down. Bill and Lucy fill the vase with lilacs daily. Bill and Lucy fill the vase with lilacs daily. All right, so what is that sentence? You can write it in the chat, or you can say it out loud. One more time. Bill and Lucy fill the vase with lilacs daily. All right. You've noticed that this sentence has our focus today, the L in American English, and you should have heard that this L sound has come in a variety of places within the words in the sentence. Bill, L comes at the end. Lucy, the L comes in the beginning. Phil at the end. Lilacs daily, the L comes in the middle. So take a quick look at the mouth position and how the sound looks. Listen for the L sound. Okay, listen to the L sound, and I'll write it in the chat to give you guys a little extra support today. So I'm going to repeat this again, and I want you to focus on my mouth position, and I want you to focus on any changes you see, any similarities you see, and if from my mouth position, from my reading this sentence, can you tell me what the mouth position of the L is? So I want to give you a chance to analyze my mouth position to see if you can identify how your L needs to look when you say it. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this sentence one more time because I saw Pauline and Estella just joined us as well. Okay, so here we go. Bill and Lucy fill the vase with lilacs daily. Bill and Lucy fill the vase with lilacs daily. Adriana B., welcome. So almost like a tongue twister, but not. It's just a sentence with several L sounds that happen throughout. So what I really want you to notice with this sentence, before we even get into the details, what I want you to notice is that the L position is going to be the same if the L is in the beginning of a word, if it's in the middle of a word, or if it's at the end of the word. So this is really especially true and helpful for Portuguese speakers who I know you have no problem saying an L when it's at the beginning of a word, but when it comes at the end, it sounds like an oo sound. So, you know, my Japanese and Korean speakers, the R and the L, so just notice that the position's different, but we'll get into that. So again, the mouth position needs to be the same for wherever the L is in a word, okay? So how does that L need to look? How does it need to sound? So when we make the L sound on its own, it actually has a eh, like that vowel eh sound in the beginning. L, L, L. When you write the L sound, it looks like E, L, 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 okay? So I want you to repeat that out loud right now if you're able to. L, L, L. Now, I want you, so you understand where your tongue needs to be, so you can make some other connections with other sounds that are easy for you. I want you to compare the L sound to the T, the D, and the N. So when you say these sounds, do you notice that is similar? Okay, so again, I'm going to get a little closer to show you. We're going to do L, T, D, N. L, T, D, N. Okay, so the sounds are a little different, and there are differences in your mouth and your tongue placement. But what I want you to notice is what the tip of your tongue is doing And I want you to feel how much the tip of your tongue pushes forward behind your top teeth in the front. So for all of those sounds, you have to identify the importance of the tip of your tongue and feel and try to understand what's happening in your mouth and feel and what's happening with your tongue. So all of those L, T, D, and N's are similar. So that can hopefully help you kind of connect where your tongue needs to be, especially if you don't have any difficulties with the N or the D, d. So the D is going to be where the tongue is before you release it. D, N, L, T. Okay, notice that your tongue's up and pushing behind your top front teeth. Now, specifically, your tongue shouldn't just be touching behind your front teeth. You should actually be pushing upwards. So your tongue needs to be touching the roof of your mouth, the top of your mouth, where it reaches your top front teeth. Okay, so your tongue position is incredibly, incredibly important to master this L sound. Your tongue is a muscle, so you have to work on this muscle, build the strength, and build the recognition. So when you say this L sound, I want you right now to say it again and hold it. L. L. Okay, you should be, again, pushing on your top front teeth where your roof of your mouth meets your teeth. Now, if you're watching live, you have the ability to ask me any questions that you have doubts about while you're watching this video. If you're watching the replay, you can also write comments if you have any questions about what we're reviewing right now. That's the beauty of these lessons. I'm teaching you something, and if you're not sure, feel free to ask a question and we can review it together, or I'll try to reply to your answer later. So right now, how are you feeling with this L sound? How do you feel with your mouth position and your tongue position? When you say the L, do you feel the tongue pushing back behind your top teeth, touching the roof of your mouth? So double check that you're doing that sound, and make sure you're saying it correctly. Now it comes down to practice. You've identified how the sound is, L. I've explained where your tongue needs to be. I hopefully have explained the importance of the position of your tongue, that muscle, and how it needs to be to accurately produce the sound. And so let's talk about ways you can build that muscle and ways that you can practice. Repetition, repetition, repetition is really important with pronunciation. You need to be practicing pronunciation every single day if you want to notice a drastic improvement. Sam in the comments had asked, is there any way to change your pronunciation that sounds like a Native American speaker, a native English speaker? And with practice, absolutely it's possible. Absolutely, you can change your accent, you can reduce your accent, you can improve your pronunciation, but it takes so much work and dedication. It's definitely not easy. Definitely not easy. So yes, okay, so the L sound isolated, but when it's within a word, what words with L do you think are the most troublesome? So we'll kind of get into that as well. So as you're practicing in a way, so especially if you can pronounce it isolated, you'll want to build that muscle, build that familiarity to make that sound so it's easier when you say it in other words and within sentences. So as you're practicing after this video and together with me, I want you to practice exaggerating that sound to really build that tongue muscle. So I told you that your tongue needs to be up, pushing behind your top front teeth at the roof of your mouth. L. Your tongue is tense because it's pushing really, really hard. You need to get the strength of your tongue to naturally push that hard. As you're studying, I want you to exaggerate by actually bringing your tongue out. L, 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 L. No, I know it feels silly. I know I look silly doing that. But when I push my tongue out, when I force my tongue to come out, L, L, it helps me build that muscle and build that recognition for that sound. This is really important because as you're practicing with this, like with that sentence, Bill, Lucy, Phil, daily, lilacs, right? When you exaggerate that sound and you push your tongue out, you cannot confuse it with the other sounds. So if you confuse the L and the R, notice the difference in the tongue and mouth position. L, R, L, R. So as you exaggerate this L sound when you practice, lilacs, daily, Bill, Phil, Lucy. Again, I know you're going to feel silly doing it, but by exaggerating, you're not going to be able to confuse it with that R. Portuguese speakers, if you make a mistake with the ending L, people, Brazil, right? When you practice exaggerating and you really push your tongue out, exaggerate that sound, you're not able to say Brazil, people, Phil, right? So you're not, if you exaggerate the sound, Brazil, 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 you're building up your tongue recognition, you're building up that muscle to make it easier as you say it in words, as you say it in sentences, and as you continue to improve. So of course, after watching this video and saying L, 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 you're not going to improve right away. It takes work and it takes practice. But when you exaggerate that sound and you really focus on building that muscle, then that muscle building is going to help you with recognition to say the words correctly later. Does that make sense? Is everybody with me? Do you have any questions yet? Will misplacing the tongue bother pronunciation? So if you've noticed for the past 15 minutes, I've really been talking about how important that mouth and tongue position is. Your tongue position is incredibly important. Any slight difference in position is going to change the way a word sounds. It's going to make a word sound unnatural. It's going to make you sound like you have an accent, or it's going to make you sound unnatural. So this video is helping you with American English pronunciation and showing you how to pronounce the L like an American. So if you follow my tongue position in my instruction, then you will definitely sound more like an American, of course, with a lot of practice. So your tongue position is crucial. So important, which is why I'm talking about exaggerating and emphasizing. So just to kind of clarify that again, when you exaggerate the L sound and you say Lucy, Bill, daily, lilacs, Brazil, people, when you exaggerate that L and you push it out, it's building your tongue muscle and building your tongue recognition to make that sound. So that tongue recognition means that when you see a word with an L, when you read a word with an L, or you say a word with an L, you want your mind to recognize how your tongue needs to be. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And when you get comfortable pushing it out like that, when you say it more naturally and bring it in, ooh, 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 it's going to be easier to do. So again, I really hope that makes sense. Remember, the full lesson notes for this video is going to be available on my website and on my blog within the next 10 minutes. So you can review this information, review the words we're about to practice, the sentences we're going to review. All of this information is going to be available for you to review on my blog, EnglishOutsideTheBox.com/blog, okay? So let's go into some more practice, and I'm going to give you the tips and some exercises that you can start doing today and that you can start doing every day to improve your pronunciation. All right, so as I mentioned, if you want to improve your pronunciation, you need to be practicing all the time, every day. Try to put in practice all of the time. What I want you to do is get comfortable with the individual sound first. Get comfortable with the individual isolated L, 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 L. If you find the L, 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 ooh, 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 if you find that sound difficult, get comfortable before you start moving on to words and moving on to sentences. So you don't think about, this exercise, think about this practice as, again, muscle building. If you want to lift 100 pounds with the muscles in your arm, you're not going to go straight to the 100-pound weights. You're going to start small and you're going to build up. Pronunciation is the same. So you're going to start with the isolated sound, going into words, and then going into sentences. So Pauline, with the French L, I think it's quite similar. I think your tongue is a little different. I think the placement is a little different in French and in Spanish and Italian, I believe. So it does have a slight difference. So just double check and review the rest of this video to make sure it's correct. Okay, so to practice the individual L sound, I want you to, again, exaggerate it. So you want to pronounce the E-L. What I want you to do is practice exaggerated with your tongue out. L, 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 L. Then bring your tongue in. L, 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 L. And compare the two. They really should be the same. L, 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 L. Okay? So again, I know I look silly doing it, but it's the way that you need to practice. So make sure those sounds sound the same when you're exaggerating and the tongue's behind your teeth. Naturally, as you speak, your tongue is going to be here, L, 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 but practice exaggerated. When you practice the exaggerated L, 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 I want you to hold that sound to build it. L, L, with your tongue out and then your tongue in. L, got it? And you can use this video to check your own accuracy and to check your mouth position. As you practice this pronunciation, I highly recommend you recording yourself on a video so you can compare the video with mine and compare your tongue, your mouth, your position, your sound with my mouth, tongue, position, and sound. Okay? Once you get comfortable with the L, L, L individual sound, you want to go on to some words. Now remember, the L can come in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. So you want to practice with a variety of words. There are tons and tons and tons of word lists out there. So I am going to review about 5 words, some 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letter words that come in the beginning, the middle, and the end. Okay, so this word list is going to be on my blog as well. And what I want you to do is to read and practice along with me now. You guys ready? These are beginning L sounds. I'm going to be saying them exaggerated for you to practice that muscle building and muscle recognition. Lab, loan, lower, linger, locking. One more time. Lab, loan, lower, linger, locking. You can repeat after me right now or later in the replay. Now, sounding a little bit more natural, not exaggerating. Lab, loan, lower, linger, locking. Okay. We're going to go on to L in the middle of a word. Old. That one's hard because of the D, to exaggerate. But old. Clam. Bulky. Influx. Delayed. So again, sometimes in the middle of a word, it's a little uncomfortable to do it exaggerated, but again, you really just want to focus on getting that tongue out and tense. Old, clam, bulky, influx, delayed. All right. And finally, the L at the end of a word. Eel, pill, quail, Brazil, pretzel. Again, exaggerating to build that muscle. Now, naturally. Eel, pill, quail, Brazil, pretzel. So, ending L words. Eel, pill, quail, Brazil, pretzel. Notice the position of my mouth. Lab, clam, Brazil. All of that L sound naturally is like this. Slightly open, lips apart, tongue up behind your teeth. L. Got it? So as a reminder, that position of your mouth, the position of your tongue is going to be the same in the beginning, the middle, or the ending L. So as you practice and as you record yourself, make sure it's always the same. Always the same. All right, so this lesson today is now going to give you a couple of sentences to practice. Once you get comfortable with the sound, once you get comfortable with the words in isolation, you want to put them in sentences. So we've already reviewed one today. Bill and Lucy filled the vase with lilacs daily. Again, it has L's in the end, in the beginning, in the middle, so it's a lot of practice for you. A couple of more sentences for you to review now aloud with me, asking questions if you have them, and getting some practice live. So your first sentences with the beginning L and ending in middle. I have a lab. My flight was delayed. I just ate a pretzel. One more time. I have a lab. My flight was delayed. I just ate a pretzel. Moving on to a little more complex. The lab lingered in an old city in Brazil. Let's do it one more time, a couple more times. The lab lingered in an old city in Brazil. The lab lingered in an old city in Brazil. The lab lingered in an old city in Brazil. And then Bill and Lucy filled the vase with lilacs daily. So this is your opportunity to ask any questions about this L sound and to review any confusions or doubts you may have as you are practicing live with me and listening live with me. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to type your question live if you have one, as I quickly review what this video is about and what I recommend. So the most important thing for pronunciation is the positioning of your mouth, your tongue, your lips, your teeth, everything, and how you release the air. All of that's so important with pronunciation. If you want to improve your pronunciation, you have to be practicing every day. This video focused on the L sound. Naturally, your tongue needs to be pushing up behind your top front teeth and be touching where the roof of your mouth meets the top of your teeth. Your tongue needs to be tense and really pushing forward. L, L, L. You notice when you say the sound isolated, there's an in the beginning. L, L, L. I recommend practicing with the individual sound, then the words, and then sentences. And as you're practicing, I really strongly, incredibly recommend that you exaggerate by pushing your tongue out, to just practice getting that tongue tense, tight, and forward, because it's going to be pushing behind your teeth when you say it naturally. All right, so Adriana B wrote the sentence live. You are just missing the ED. The lab lingered in an old city in Brazil. All right, okay. So what we're gonna do is I need to wrap up this video now, but you have the video replay that you can watch again and again and again to listen, practice, repeat, and compare. Remember, compare your own video with mine to check that accuracy, to check your accuracy and to make sure you're saying it correctly. You can watch the replay and read all of the lesson notes right on my blog. If you've never been to my blog, go there now. There are hundreds of free lessons available right now at englishoutsidethebox.com/blog, B-L-O-G, blog. You're going to see the full lesson notes for this video. The lesson notes, the words, the sounds, everything from this lesson. So the lesson is going to help you. As Douglas just mentioned, and in the blog post, in the description of this video, I did recommend my favorite book for American English pronunciation. It's called American Accent Training. So in this book, American Accent Training, the link is on my website and the link is in the description below. This has a CD, it has books, and what it does is it focuses on difficult sounds, L's, R's, the TH, and it gives you a lot of practice. And it also has several chapters on linking, reductions, connections, and how sounds change. So it focuses on words and phrases, and I love it because it has all kinds of exercises for every section. So that's why I recommend this book, and all of the links are available below, and that's what I recommend. So if you're not wanting to purchase a book, you can also review the videos on this YouTube channel. I have several pronunciation videos to help you. And of course, the Phrasal Verb Conversation Club, where we have 1 week just about pronunciation and helping you sound more natural. If you're watching this on YouTube, the video has a little circle with an I at the top. You can click that I to join the club or find out more information about this club. There are other sounds. So I've heard that there are 2 different sounds for L, but I have also heard that there's more in the theory, but in the practice, native speakers use the same sound most of the time. So Arius, I'm not really sure what your question is or if it's more of a statement. There are going to be different L sounds, like when an L is silent and you don't even hear it, like in the word salmon, the fish that you eat, or the color. So maybe that will be a future video about the silent L. Today it was all about the L that you hear and produce. Remember, if you have any questions, comment below this video or send me an email. I hope this training helped you become a more natural, comfortable, and confident English speaker so you can achieve what you need to in your everyday English life. Thank you for studying with me, and don't forget to join me next week. Have a good day and happy studying.